There are two main ways that people interface with computers, that they interact with computers. One is the GUI, or Graphical User Interface, and the other is the CLI, or Command-Line Interface. So let's have a look at what these two things mean and the difference between them. With the GUI, the Graphical User Interface, you have windows, you have icons, you may have menus, and you may have pointers like the mouse here. It's a nice visual way of representing what's happening on the computer, and it's a very easy way for new users to understand what the computer is doing. With a command line interface, all you have is a command line, or lines of text. So if you want to get the computer to do something on a command line interface, you just type in instructions. You type words in to make it perform tasks. So you may be asking yourself, why on earth would you ever want to use a command line when you could use a GUI? Because the GUI looks so much nicer and it seems to be so much easier to use. Well, to have all these graphics and these colors and things like transparency takes a lot of hardware. So you may have a lot of RAM and you may have a lot of processor time taken just to represent what's happening in a GUI. All those nice menus, all those nice windows are going to take processing time and processing power. So for a computer, quite a bit of its processing time may be spent trying to render the interface rather than doing the tasks that you want it to do. With a command line, all you've got is text. So there's not so much power from the computer being used to display the command line. So if you have quite a low-powered computer, you may find that command line makes your computer run a lot faster. If you want to get the most power out of your computer to solve a particular task, you may find that the command line, again, gives you the best response. Other things too. If you're a new user trying to learn how to use a computer, you may find that the GUI is a really nice, intuitive way of learning the system, while trying to learn all the commands for the command line may take you some time. However, you can't say that the GUI is a faster way of using the computer. In some ways it may be, so you may be able to drag files from one location to another very easily. But also with the command line, if you knew your instructions, if you were an expert, then you'd be able to perform tasks with the command line maybe much faster than with a GUI. It's important that your students understand the difference between a GUI and a CLI. If they can understand these differences, they should also be able to start arguing why you would use a CLI and why you would use a GUI. You could give them an example of a particular computing problem, which they would say, okay, for this problem, a GUI would be the most suitable method to use, or a CLI would be the most suitable method to use. They should be able to start thinking about which of these is the best way to solve computing problems.